So I guess for today we'll focus on some of the sounds and the verbs, or not the verbs, the vowels. So in Tlingit, there's 8 vowels, and they all make the same sound. It never changes. These sounds never change, but the way we say things will change depending on the region that you're from. So when I was, the way I speak is a little more towards the Cake dialect. I grew up partially in Juneau. My grandmother, Emma Marks, she didn't speak English around us too much. Very few times, and some of the only times that we heard her speak English was to tell us as kids there was a bear on Mark's Trail, or if she was praying or singing gospel songs. So, and all my aunties and uncles, they all spoke Tlingit, so that's where we heard it growing up. And I was always with my dad, going to payoff parties in Haynes quite a bit. I remember going to Haynes, and these parties, that's all I heard them in was in Tlingit, and I caught that tail end of our elders, and so that's where I learned to understand it and speak it. But we moved away for a few years, and we moved to Anchorage. But when I came back, things kind of shocked me when I came back, and that there was no more Tlingit in our payoff parties anymore. I was kind of shocked and thrown off by it. But when I came back in high school, I was in Cake, and when I was in Cake, they found out I could understand Tlingit, and when they found that out, the elders, that the only thing they spoke to me in was Tlingit. So I always give credit to the Cake people. I always give a bunch of credit to them. They brought that language back out inside of me. They brought that language back out in me. And so because of that, I speak with a Cake twang, if you would say, if you should say. Um, it's a little different. And when I give you some of these words, to me, that's the way I would normally say it, would be in the Cake dialect. But I'll try and give you it mostly either from the Huna or Juneau area. Also, slight differences, very slight differences. But if you listen to it, you'll you'll hear those differences. One, for instance, um, a lot of people now, I always hear this a lot, is people say shtuchal tiu. So I would say tiu for I'm learning something. And up here they would say shtuchal tu. So I'll type that in there so you can hear the difference. I'm learning something. Shtuchal tiu is how I would say it. I'm learning. But everybody else, so shtuchal tiu. Shtu. So the way we say that voiceless L sound is just, we'll practice that. The way, so just say the English word, this English letter L. L, where does your tongue go? Leave your tongue there, and you're just blowing air off the sides, That's the voiceless L sound that's commonly mispronounced. And it's important to say the sounds right and correct, because if you don't, it'll change the the meaning of the whole word, and you might be saying something you want to, and we don't want that to happen. So Tlingit is very makes uh, you have to listen very closely to what people are saying, and that's important, especially how you say it. So it's very important to our people as well to mind what we say, to be careful of what we say about just anything and everyone. So that, I believe part of that is some of those words were taught, were also taught for us to be careful of how we say things. It was very important for us. So like that voiceless L, but we'll start off with the vowels. We'll start off with the short vowels. There's 4 short vowels. And the reason like I said, I wanted folks to be able to um, hear these sounds um, and to practice them so that you can read it on your own. There's a lot of material out there that was written by our Auntie Nora and Uncle Richard. Um, they they wrote a lot. Um, they wrote a lot of stuff about our people, and there's still lots out there that they weren't able to work on. And these materials will help you to be able to read it. The short
Oh,
vowels, there are 4. And the first one that we'll start with is a short A sound, and that's ah, ah. The next one is the E sound, eh. The next one is the I, short I sound, and that's eh, 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 eh. Next one we have, the last one of the short vowels is the U. Uh, uh, uh. And so when you hear these, when you see these written out, you'll recognize them. And you'll be able to read the language. Like I said, there's lots of materials out there, and so I'd like you to be able. We'll focus a few minutes on reading or being able to read it, and so then you can go home and practice reading some of these materials. And then once we're comfortable with the reading, then I can write things up for you and be able to read on your own. And so that was the last short sound. And now you hear the difference with the long vowels. We'll go back to the top with the one A, the long A sound. Ah, one is the double
uh,
long E sound.
do not mute
E,
me.
E, E. And the next one is A, E I sound. And it's just like when you write the number 8 out, EIGHT. It's that same EI sound. A, A, A. And the last one is the double O. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And so my auntie wrote in one of the books, the Sneaky Sounds book, uh, that will help you quite a bit. And if you can get that book, it'll help you a lot. They explain a little more in depth as well, and I'll use that later as an example or for examples of how to say some of these words. Um, like let's practice the short A sound for one of the words would be tuss, 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 T, high tone A, S, tuss, tuss. This means either a thread or um, sin long time ago. High tone above the A, tuss, tuss. And the next one So is thread or sinew. The sinew is what we used a long time ago for sewing. So ta, 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 ta is a little rock, is a rock. Ta. And most of these words are gonna signal or have the high tone above these short vowels. But that doesn't mean no, Patty, no, not a pebble. A pebble. So this we'll use a different. We'll get back to that one. A rock in general, just a rock, is te. And then the other one is so the I going to the I is dis, dis, which means moon. Dis, dis. I'm trying to think of one for the U. Let me see. Clue. So the U sound. Oh. Can't think of a word that starts with a U or has the one in it.
Utsa, soap.
Oh yeah, utsa. So utsa. 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 U-S apostrophe A-A. Utsa. Utsa, which is soap, the word for soap. Utsa. 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 So here's, I'll see if I can spell it out. So utlchi is a boilfish. Utlchi. Utl. Utl.
Utli.
Utlchi. Utlchi.
Utli.
Utlchi. Boilfish. Utlchi is another one. Ah. The word, the vowel ah. Double A, ah. My auntie and them said it's pronounced, they use the old car Saab. It's pronounced the same way. Ah, 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 claim. Ah, claim. It can mean, that means something that's big, or it can also mean the word for Atlan now. Atlan, Atlan means big lake. Or, well, for those that are here that live in Juneau, Auk means little lake. Auk. So here's one. The double E. Outledis. 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 Which means clear skies on a at night, meaning you can see this, you can see the moon. So earlier I gave you the word for moon, which was dis. When we use these words, sometimes it'll change. The vowels will change depending on on the word you're using or the, let's see, give an example. Here's one. So if you look at the words that, or the short sentences that I gave you, kudesa yani good. Kudesa yani good. You de wu good. So if you look at that word, that last part, good and good, that's where the information in this word is at, meaning to walk. Yani good, you are walking. They're walking. Where are you walking? He or she walked over there. You de wu good. So outledis, dis, because the words are the way we use our words, the vowels are either elongated, it will be a long vowel or a short vowel. And it depends on the action, whether it's they're doing it or it's complete. And it depends on the speaker, and that also it all changed, but won't go too much into that. So outledis means the other day when it was really cold out, we could see the stars, we could see the moon. There was no clouds in the sky. That's called outledis. 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 And going back to the one they said for little rock. So earlier we said a rock in general was te, te, te. We use the short e vowel. Now we're going to use a different one for to use almost the same thing, but we'll say take, 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 which means a little stone, a little one. Take. It's pronounced the same as in English as you would pronounce to take something. He or she is going to take that pencil or whatever the thing get. Whoops. Take. There's a tone mark above the EI, the E, take, which means a little stone. And the last vowel is the O, double O sound, ooh, ooh, ooh. So you khatangi, you khatangi. So I don't have on this laptop, I don't have a PowerPoint or anything on it, so I haven't been able to actually create slides, which I know will help, and I'll try and get that for next class, and we'll be able to do a little bit more so you can see it written out and whatnot. So the main focus of this first class was just to see what everybody's expectations are, kind of get to know who I am. Like I said, I grew up hearing the language all the time, so it was very important that I believe it's important that you just hear the language as well. And so we'll do that in the next class, and we'll help with the sounds and the vowels even more. And then we'll go ahead and start making short stories. So, be patient with yourselves. A lot of these sounds, Tlingit is a very guttural language. And if you've learned English first, it's very hard to make some of these sounds. But if we've all heard these sounds and we just practice and practice, you'll get it. And so don't be discouraged if you're having trouble. This is what we're here for. What I'm here for is that we're here to help each other learn the language. And so this language is a very beautiful language, very descriptive. Once you start to begin to grasp some of these things, um, you'll find yourself laughing or giggling at some of the way our ancestors spoke, which is very different compared to English. Um, the language is very, very. My Uncle Johnny said it's just like watching TV when somebody speaks in Tlingit, and I agree with him. Especially hearing the stories, maybe one class a week, um, once a week, and tell a story. I can share a story with you so that we're hearing the language. Use examples from our elders. Um, it's 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 going to be very, like I said in the beginning, it's going to be very good. And I said, I'll say it again: is just be patient. Is be patient with yourselves. Practice when you can. Practice the sounds, and then once we have these short stories, you'll be able to focus in on something. You know, be able to narrow in on a certain phrase that you can use later on. So that's my focus will be so that you can use these words, use this everyday language, and hopefully it'll get you to the point where you're speaking with others. And that's what I want. I want to hear our language again, like I want to hear it like I was a kid. I remember going anywhere with my dad. That's all I heard was elders talking and laughing in Tlingit, and I imagine some of you, that's the way it was as well. So, got a few minutes, and I know it's a few of you have to work, have to go back to work. The first go around is always a little bouncy. Work out the kinks. Uh, Now that we got a little hand on other people that are willing to um, help with mitigating some of these hiccups, it'll go a lot smoother next round. Everybody, one of the words that we've worked on, chish. So it's chish. That word doesn't just mean thank you. Um, I heard one of the elders say it also means, it can mean without you, it wouldn't be possible. And so the word chish there's a lot of meaning to it, not just thank you. It's a very in-depth meaning to it. You'll hopefully I'll be able to explain the thought process of our aunts, or the way our grandparents spoke, which is important to me that you understand that. Somebody said some people just say cheesh, but I don't know. I always heard the elders say cheesh, cheesh, which meant thank you, the way we translate it now, but I always heard them say cheesh, the full word. I think now more it's becoming a slang term, cheesh. But when I use that word, like if I were to use it by itself, I wouldn't say it like that. One way I might say something is Chishigeyan Dashan, which means who can hold back time or getting old. So that's what that word chish by itself it changes. So that's why I always try to tell people to say the full word, gunnath chish. Like I was saying earlier, if you don't use it right, it'll change the meaning of the word, and you might say something you don't want to. Like that phrase I just said is from Matthew Fred. He used it as a parable. And full parable was Chi Shikeyan Dashen Hethlade Kochlashadi Wekao. Who can stop age coming upon us is the full word, the full parable that he said.